Trump's life a living hell has now been exposed for taking dirty money from USAID. I'll be going through all of that tonight. Also, the Epstein files drop, and guess what? Somebody is blocking President Trump, Kash Patel, and Pam Bondi from seeing who the real criminals are connected to pedophile Jeffrey Epstein and others. So much to go through. Plus, General Michael Flynn directly accuses James Comey of knowing who needs to go to jail in order to save his own neck. I believe he's talking about President Barack Obama. Let's go ahead and jump into the news today. Attorney General Pam Bondi is launching an investigation after the FBI field in New York allegedly withheld thousands of Jeffrey Epstein documents. The Epstein binders were released today, and it was empty or nearly totally redacted. It was a nothing burger. People in Washington, D.C., MAGA voters, those that want to know the truth about pedophile and groomer Jeffrey Epstein, nothing. How could this man be in jail? How could Ghislaine Maxwell be in jail if there is nobody? There's no victim. There's no co-conspirator. Something's not right. So we want to know the truth. So now President Trump can't even see what's behind the redacted. Kash Patel can't see, and AG Pam Bondi. These are the top people in the United States of America, and this information is being withheld from them. Something smells fishy, and we need to get to the bottom of it. Now, Pam Bondi says she has an internal source claiming that the FBI office in New York is purposely withholding thousands of documents. They are trying to cover for somebody or somebodies, meaning wealthy people, politicians, people in FBI that are connected to the Jeffrey Epstein situation. I'll continue to keep you updated, but as of now, Pam Bondi sent an official letter to FBI Kash Patel saying, I want this investigated and I want those documents on my desk by 8 a.m. This story should be big. Right now, it's a nothing burger. Speaking of bad guys in New York, what if I told you that the Democrat lawyer behind both Trump impeachments, 10 other impeachments that were ready to go, all of the illegal Trump cases, the January 6th case and the Stormy Daniels hush money case, are all connected to one person who was just named in a $17 million scam using taxpayer money through USAID. His name is Norm Eisen. Let's go ahead and watch this. Check this out.
Norm Eisen, he runs an NGO called State United Democracies Center, State United Democracy Center. It's actually full of big names like Janet Napolitano, Tom Ridge, Michael Steele. You know, many famous names are involved in this specific NGO. Now, that NGO accepts $17 million in private donation. So I was researching. What do they do? Like, with $17 million, I started researching. But the only thing I could find, and I wouldn't dig, but the only thing that I found, they made a knockoff Muppet show. You think I'm kidding? They actually made puppets, Muppets, but like knockoff puppets. And all the videos that they made with these knockoff puppets had less than 200 views. So I'm wondering, all those big names, all those famous people at the NGO, and the only thing they did was $17 million was make a terrible Muppet show. They got money and they did something with that. It was just awful. Jim Henson would roll in his grave.
I saw the video on your ex.
Yes. Yeah, I know. And it was weird because all the videos have less than 200 views.
Okay, so that's a deaf woman who is incredibly good at doing internet research. She starts digging in. She notices that this Democrat lawyer who for the last 8 years has spent almost every waking moment trying to destroy Donald J. Trump, Trump's family, his children, his marriage, his reputation, and even his corporation. So one guy's behind all of that. He's the head of this NGO, non-government organization that takes in $17 million. And what did they do with that money? They made a knockoff Muppets show that only got 200 views on the internet. So where's the money? $17 million of my stolen tax money, and you make a piece of crap Muppets knockoff that only gets 200 views? That's insane. I'm a nobody in Salt Lake City, Utah. I get 200 views in the first 10 seconds of my video. And you're telling me an organization with $17 million can't get more than 200 views? This is a scam. This woman's going to continue to dig in. But I wanted to make you aware of that. The lawyer that was making Donald Trump's life a living hell has been taking money from the government. All right, now in a big win today, Justice John Roberts of the Supreme Court has sided with President Donald J. Trump that he does, as president, in fact, have the authority over USAID and money going to foreign nations. So USAID was closed down today. 1,500 people were given the day to clean up their stuff and get out. And billions and billions and billions of dollars were rescued from going to corruption, NGOs, fake charities, fake religions. Check out what Alex Jones had to say.
Article 2 of the U.S. Constitution is clear. Everything Trump's been doing with Doge, Elon Musk, is 100% constitutional. And the Supreme Court just ruled 1 hour ago that Trump can freeze all the foreign aid. The deep state's in big trouble, folks. We took America back. They're planting some false flags, and they're super dangerous, but they're exposed, and they have been defending all this waste, fraud, and abuse. They have fallen right in our hands because America is now awake. This is a historic moment. Supreme Court rules in favor of President Trump, freezing all the foreign aid that goes to the CIA. They're using to start World War III and push open borders and human trafficking, everything else. This is a real revolution, and I'm so proud to be part of it. God bless you all. Follow me on the next latest developments at Real Alex Jones. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Alex Jones, for that update. So the key word is follow the money and you'll find the crime, right? Instead of taking time to prosecute that, which I believe they will do, they're just immediately cutting off the money. And now you've got all these people, thousands and thousands and thousands of people that have been sucking off the teat of the American taxpayer suddenly are like, holy crap, we can't live without that stolen money. So Trump is cutting off the CIA, cutting off these fake charities, these fake churches, these fake NGOs that if you dig in, they were anti-America, anti-family, anti-Christian, anti-Judaism. All of this was designed to undermine America and then flood us with illegal immigrants. I am so sick of these Washington, D.C. criminals. Sick of all criminals. All right, I've got some other big stories to share with you, but first a word from our sponsor. Did you know that scammers can literally steal your house right out from under you? The FBI is calling it house stealing. It's a growing real estate scam targeting American homeowners. We've got trillions of dollars in equity, but here's what they really want. Criminals forge your signature on a quitclaim deed. They then use a fake notary stamp pay a small fee at the county recorder, and boom, they take possession of the equity in your house. And just like that, your home title gets transferred out of your name. They can then take out loans using your home equity as collateral, and they can even sell your property behind your back. You won't even know that it's gone until 90, 100, 120 days later, you start suddenly ending up in collections or receive a foreclosure notice. It's an absolute nightmare. So let me ask you this. When was the last time you checked on your home's title? Well, if you're like most people, the answer is never. And that's exactly what these scammers are counting on. That's why I trust Home Title Lock. Their $1 million triple lock protection helps keep your home and home equity safe. Here's what you get: 24-hour monitoring of your property, urgent alerts if there's any changes, and if fraud should happen, their US-based restoration team will spend up to $1 million to fix the fraud and restore your title at no additional cost. And here's the best part. I've teamed up with Home Title Lock to give you a free title history report so you can find out if you're already a victim and access your personal title expert, a $250 value just for signing up. Go to HometitleLock.com and use my promo code Gardner250 or click on the link in the description. That's HometitleLock.com, promo code Gardner250 to get the protection and peace of mind you deserve. I'll put all of the details down below to make it really easy for you. All right, now the Trump administration just had their first cabinet meeting where President Trump was finally able to address Elon Musk's threat to federal employees who did not respond to an email asking them to prove they exist and what they did last week. President Trump stated, those millions of people who haven't responded with their 5 bullet points are on the bubble. Maybe they don't exist. Maybe we're paying people who don't exist, but those people are on the bubble. Now, by on the bubble, President Trump means these people are taking a risk that they will lose their job or that source of revenue will dry up. If they'd been sending this to an employee that died and the spouse just never mentioned anything, that money needs to be recovered. If it's to a foreign entity, that money needs to be cut off and recovered. While this may sound harsh, Elon Musk has committed to giving workers an extra amount of time. He said, listen, our goal is not to be capricious or unfair. We want to give every opportunity to send an email, even if the email simply says, what I'm working on is too sensitive or classified to describe. Trump and others have a suspicion that there could be hundreds of thousands of dead or quit workers who are still collecting a paycheck off of the back of the American people while doing nothing. Trump promised to drain the swamp, and this is one of the best ways to do it. Cut off the money, follow the money, and then cut it off, right? Now, in that same meeting, President Trump took aim at the European Union, saying it was invented to screw America over. He stated, they've taken advantage of us in different ways. They don't accept our cars. They don't accept essentially our farm products. They use all sorts of reasons why not. And we accept everything from them. The European Union is formed to screw the United States. Let's be honest. What's the purpose of it? They've done a good job, but now I'm president. In reality, I wouldn't expect the EU to do anything other than what's in their best interest, right? Maybe they were doing make Europe great again. But President Trump has a point. We buy a lot from Europe, and Europe buys almost nothing from us. So that needs to switch if you want the benefit of being connected to the American empire. Now, hopefully, they'll start buying more of our food for our farmers and our cars for our manufacturing. All of that needs to get better. But up until this point, it seems Americans have been putting other countries ahead of ourselves. That's what Europe is doing. And now Trump is saying, listen, if we are going to keep fighting each other's wars, if we are going to keep calling each other friends and allies, then we need to behave like friends and allies. All right, now instead, we continue to spend billions of dollars on foreign wars and housing illegal immigrants. According to the latest Doge report, the government was planning to spend tens of millions of dollars to influence social behavior in other countries. Doge also detailed that John Hopkins was planning to receive $42 million to do research and drive social behavior change in the country of Uganda. Furthermore, another $250 million was going to be spent improving social responsibility in the country of Colombia. Now, please let me know over in the comments. Do you want $42 million of your money spent in Uganda changing social behavior? I don't. I want 42 million spent in America. Do you want 25 million spent in Colombia, making them more socially responsible? I don't. I want $25 million making America better. We have cities littered with crime, and we're using taxpayer money to improve the social behavior of other countries and other cultures. This just doesn't sit right with me. And if I know my viewer, I know it doesn't sit right with you either. Why are we allowed to struggle while we fight other people's wars? Why are we allowed to struggle while we try to influence the LGBTQ agenda of an African nation? I'm just sick of it, right? It's not just waste. Much of this money was spent on anti-family, anti-American projects, and worse, billions and billions of dollars was spent funding terrorists that kill Americans and American allies. Check this out. There's some crazy information that came out of Congress today.
We are sending $40 million a week to the Taliban.
Yes, sir.
Can you name other instances of foreign aid going to terrorist organizations?
We have assisted al-Shabaab in Somalia. There's been instances of the Khamsi network in Sudan, Hamas, Islamic Jihad, Hezbollah, Kataib al-Hezbollah, Hayat Tahrir al-Shams in Syria. Dozens of terror organizations have received indirect assistance from U.S. foreign aid.
Could you elaborate a little bit on the mechanisms in place that are to stop foreign aid from going to terrorist groups, and why are they not working if we have any in place?
Sure.
And I would note that these are, you notice these are terrorist weaponry. You see some AKs, SKSs, some snipers, some clips, some clip carriers, probably made in China, and I believe these are
hey, listen to this
small
part.
landmines here beside right there.
Let's use Gaza as our case study. $2.1 billion in American taxpayers' money to Gaza since October 7th when Hamas invaded southern Israel. USAID money was going in terms of an emergency use authorization to try to go to parties that USAID formerly had a relationship with in the Gaza Strip. They had to have been vetted by OFAC. They should have been vetted against the special designated terror list from the State Department and from other Treasury organizations. Waivers were granted because they said that there was an emergency use to have that money come in to Gaza, thereby jettisoning the usual typical screening procedures. As a result, 90% of aid that was going from the United States by way of its agents in Gaza ended up in Hamas-controlled areas. And this is ridiculous. Essentially, what the U.S. assistance to Gaza did was underwrite the ability for Hamas to survive until the ceasefire was just passed a few weeks ago. There was no strategic thought for it, and there was no screening.
Seems like the emergency might have been armed terrorists to kill civilians. Would that be accurate?
That's accurate, and even more than that, Samantha Powers, the administrator for USAID, was intent on having Israel not be able to defend itself.
Wow. Okay, let me stop. There's just a couple more minutes, but did you hear what he just said? I know he's talking fast because he's nervous, but Biden gave Hamas $2.1 billion, not total, since they attacked Israel. We've given them over $2 billion. Samantha Powers, the former head of USAID, publicly said she didn't want Israel to be able to defend itself, and so she was sending money to Hamas. I mean, I've been covering this stupid war that has led to the death of tens of thousands of Palestinians, thousands of Jews, Christians, all these people dying. Almost 100,000 people in total have died. And what's been funding it? Freaking America? Are you kidding me? I'm so glad this Samantha Powers is out. But I mean, she was literally behind the scenes trying to make sure that Hamas could kill Jews and that Jews in Israel couldn't defend themselves.
Not be able to defend it.
Correct.
Mr. Primorak, is that correct? How do you say that? Primorak? I got Burchett, man. Nobody gets mine right, so don't worry about it. What is it? Primorak?
Perfect.
All right, thanks, brother. How did terrorists exploit our foreign aid loopholes?
Well, we have a lot of our
Can
international.
you pull your mic up? I'm sorry.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
You have international NGOs and UN agencies actively lobby here in Washington, D.C. against vetting policies that would prevent it. I was the senior vetting officer at USAID, and what
Hold
we
on a
did.
second. Did you say United Nations is doing this? The UN?
Sure, everybody who's getting money lobbies.
Okay, did you hear that? The United Nations and these NGOs, they have private lobbyists that specifically lobby members of Congress to turn a blind eye to the fraudulent money that goes to terrorism.
Here.
That they're lobbying against us. I'm sorry, Mr. Roman.
There's actually someone who used to work for one of those lobbies, the largest NGO lobby, Interaction. One of our co-witnesses here worked for them from 2018 to 2023. USAID effectively self-funds its own external private lobby that then goes back to Congress and asks for more money for USAID.
So the taxpayers fund this lobbyist who's working against American interests.
Correct.
Possibly killing our allies and possibly Americans.
They bring together groups in Washington that overseas work with groups that kill Americans.
Yeah, I don't need a flow chart to show that. I appreciate it.
So USAID takes part of our tax money and sets it aside to pay lobbyists to go get more taxpayer money that isn't accounted for so that they can fund terrorists that kill Americans. This is so insane to me. We literally have psychopaths running the money funnels of the American empire into areas that get us killed, that flood our communities with gang members and murderers and funding terrorists. These people ought to go to jail. This is treason. You're funding groups that kill our citizens. You steal our money in the form of taxation, and then you use it to kill us. So someone's got to pay for this. Unbelievable. All right, final story. FBI Director Kash Patel launched an investigation into former FBI Director James Comey. This got General Michael Flynn's attention, because General Michael Flynn was thrown in jail because of Obama and because of James Comey. Now General Michael Flynn is saying, James Comey, if you don't want to go to jail the rest of your life, you need to give up the person who was really running this. And I believe he is telling us it's Barack Obama. Watch this.
Whistleblowers coming out of the woodwork, and we're funneling it into the right governmental offices to do the right things. And let me tell you, these people are busted. And so for Jim Comey, that's what I said earlier. Jim, if you get this message, start thinking about what you're gonna give up, because you're gonna give up some of your freedom because you're gonna go to jail. You must go to jail because of what you did. But maybe they'll cut you a little bit of a deal, and they'll put you in a softer prison for a shorter period of time because you're able to give up some evidence on some of these other people who are even more deeper than you involved in this. Because Jim, you know exactly who I'm talking about.
All right. So General Flynn, angry. They tried to ruin his life. Now there's retribution. Now there's justified revenge, justified justice. Let me know. Are you guys like kind of disgusted by everything that's been happening under the cover of darkness in America? I'm so grateful that President Trump won. We wouldn't have known any of this. They would have thrown Trump in jail for the rest of his life, and we wouldn't have known any of this. They would just continue to steal our money, use it to flood our country, steal our money, use it to start wars, steal our money, use it to enrich big pharma. Oh, I can see why President Trump's life was spared. That doesn't mean that this is all going to come out perfectly. But wow. I'm just, every day I read the news and I go, I feel like I'm living in the Twilight Zone. I had no idea there were so many bad actors in the American government. I think, let me know in the comments, are you shocked? Do you think people need to go to jail? I do. I think some of these people have committed treason. They've stolen our money and then used it against us. It's awful. All right, there's thousands of you on right now. If you appreciate these updates, please give this video a like, hit that subscribe button, stay amazing, and I will see you on the